Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning. Welcome in to a new edition of the Batter Up podcast, part of the Sports Insanity Network. Mike Rifkin, along with Danny Boy Reginald, Dan Rines, and Dan, for the first time, we could say this is the first Batter Up podcast during Major League Baseball season. How are you, my friend?
Oh, good. Baseball's here. It's a great time of year. And to all the non-baseball fans or the baseball haters, guess what? Until November, this is life. It's nonstop baseball every single day, and there is nothing you can do about it. So suck it. Baseball's back. And the Yankees are 1-1. So I'll take it.
Dan's fired up. I love it. There's nothing you can do unless I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to create a whole spectrum of things here, but
just be excited that baseball's back.
Be excited, be happy. Also be happy for this reason, because baseball season's here. It means the warmer weather is coming, which means everyone should be excited.
It's gonna hit 80 in Washington D.C. The spring is not. It's sprung and then some.
Spring has sprung. Yesterday was April Fool's Day. We're getting into it. All right. The big topic on hand during the off season was the pitch clock. We've now seen the pitch clock in action. We've seen games shortened, et cetera, et cetera. Dan, what do you think on the pitch clock?
It's done wonders. Not just the pitch clock, but all the new rules in general. The bigger bases, it's done wonders for the game so far. We've had more stolen bases. We've had more runs. And shorter game times. You can't tell me that people nowadays, and look, I understand that there's the old-time baseball fans in their 60s, 70s, 80s. They're like, oh, we don't want anything to change. Old school baseball is the way it is. And believe me, I am a baseball purist, traditionalist, all that stuff. But at the same time, it is okay to tweak the game a little bit if it means more ratings, more money, and better play, better style of play, better pace of play. So look, I'm a working person. I watch baseball at night. I work during the day. I don't got time to stay up till 10, 30, 11 o'clock at night to watch a baseball game here. Like, I want to be in bed by 10 o'clock here. So the bottom line is this. The pace of play is doing great. A lot of the games were under 2 hours. I know the Met game on Friday was 2:09. The opening day, you had two of the games go 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. And that's good. This is what baseball needs. Baseball needs to have shortened game times so people can watch. And guess what? The faster pace of play, the more you're locked in, because you can't miss a pitch.
If you can mind the other rule that I happen to love, which is the 3 batter minimum for pitchers.
Yes.
That way, not every 5 minutes a manager's coming out, lefty, righty, right, that stuff. Combine that with this, and we're in a good spot. The one caveat would be, I know they sync it up to when it's about 10 seconds on the score bug on TV.
Yeah.
I would like, kind of like the shot clock in basketball, kind of just give it to us full. That way we know. Otherwise, in case there is some confusion at any point, but that's kind of my only nitpick at this point.
And it's weird because a lot of these regional sports networks. They also not only do they have baseball, they have basketball. Like you would think that they would have perfected, professionally connecting the pitch clock to their score graphic and stuff. Like you think they would have perfected that, but I don't know. That hockey too, that they had the time in hockey as well. So you would think that, but it's kind of weird so far that they only put in the pitch clock. Like I know Yes Network on opening day, they put the pitch clock at the bottom of the screen. But they have a picture of it of the pitch clock, and it's just like no. Do what you do with basketball, do what you do with football, do what you do with hockey. You add the clock to the score graphic, and that's how you do it.
Yeah. Like SNY for the Mets has it in there, but it really doesn't show up until you hit 10 seconds on the clock.
And that's silly. Like we should be able to see 20 seconds or 15 seconds.
Yeah, because there was a play during the Blue Jays Cardinals game where yesterday where people got confused on what was going on. We thought there should have been an automatic ball.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out the clock wasn't properly reset.
Yeah.
Which was the ruling, which is something they're going to have to work out. But everyone is learning this at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a work in progress. But listen, they wanted shorter games. They've gotten them so far.
Yeah, look, and it's great. It's great for the sport. The game moves. And like I said, the more the game moves, you're more locked in. Look, this isn't football. Football can go 3+ hours and be perfectly fine because football is one game a week. Baseball, you're playing 162 games and it's every single day. You don't got time for every single day to be up for 3.5 hours watching baseball. They don't. And then imagine if you're going to a game, and I know people don't go to games all the time, but watching a slow game happen for 3.5 hours, it gets annoying after a while. Like I think I've been to many baseball games in my lifetime, and every single baseball game I've been to, I've missed innings at a time because I was like, I can't look at it, and I love baseball. Baseball's my favorite sport. Can't look at it all the time. This, you're locked in. There is just no way of missing. You can't miss the game. So it's really good. And of course, the bigger bases, it's been wonders too.
The bigger bases, chef's kiss. Alex Score was totally right. They do look like pizza boxes.
Yeah.
But listen, if you're gonna get more stolen bases into the game, I'm for that too.
Yeah. And
let's go get Ricky Henderson. Someone sign Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, and now
let's see Ricky run.
And now you also can do it without risking so much injury. That was another big thing, is that players would often get injured because the bases were so small.
Yeah, or they slip when it rains because it's so
it's done wonders. So I'm happy that so far it's worked out. When they ever get into a groove, let's see. Like I could see much shorter games in 2 hours and 9 minutes and stuff.
And you still got your whole day ahead of you.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so that's pace of play, pitch clock. We do have something else we do have to get into, and it involves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
Their third baseman, Anthony Rendon, is under investigation by Major League Baseball because I believe this was opening night, Thursday night.
Yeah,
he grabbed a fan by the jersey and actually took a swing at the fan, not with a bat, with his hand, with his fist. Actually took a swing at the fan. So MLB is now investigating that, Dan.
Yeah, and what was weird is that night he went 0 for 3 and then proceeded to swing at this fan and completely missed him. So he was like 0 for 4 on swinging at anything and stuff. It was pretty embarrassing and stuff. But no, look, Rendon, so far, I don't think he's had a hit this season. So not only is he embarrassing himself on the field with his hitting, which is non-existent, he's embarrassing himself after the game. Look, I know fans are saying, and I think some of the old timers are saying this. I know Dallas Braden has said it. Like, fans, you have to expect that if you're going to be calling out these names to baseball players and stuff, that you have to expect them to be human and come after you. Here's my argument against that. These ball players get millions of dollars every season to play a game. Millions of dollars. These fans that come to the ballpark, these low-life drunks, some of them are, some of them aren't, but for the most part, low-life drunks. They are paying customers. So $1 million ball players versus lowlifes. And lowlifes are calling out these $1 million ball players a bunch of bitches or whatever the heck it was called. Guess what? If I'm $1 million ball player, I keep walking. Unless I see some bullshit of malice at the palace. If I see that bullshit, excuse my language, that's one thing. If I don't see malice at the palace anywhere, I keep walking. You have nothing to say. So that's why I think Rendon's in the wrong. Because what is there to defend here that can possibly be defended? His actions are silly. His actions make the Angels look bad. It makes himself look worse than the ball player that he already is. And you're pretty much, the bottom line, you're pretty much embarrassing everyone that represents you. And, it's a waste of money for you and for the team. It looks bad. It looks terrible.
You're right in the sense of if it's malice at the palace. The only other thing that would be in defense of Rendon, the only other thing I would say in defense of Rendon, if the guy talked at any length about his family,
right?
Because that's always
Fair
off
enough.
limits to me. Or if there was a derogatory term involved, which I don't know. I do not know. I just saw a heckler, which
Yeah, we don't really know what he said. It was just out of nowhere. I don't know.
Listen, here's my biggest problem. Fans pay. You're right. Fans pay. So when the price of admission is paid to get into the ballpark, they could cheer. They could kind of say what they want at times, do certain things cross line 100%. And that's why I admire guys who don't overreact to certain things and things that happen. Anthony Rendon is one of the last people who should have this reaction based on the fact of he has done squat as a Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim. And listen, if the guy just said to Rendon, hey, you suck, guess what, Anthony? You haven't lived up to the contract that you signed for millions upon millions of dollars. So in that sense, is it the pressure that's getting to you? I don't know. But physical violence is never the answer.
No, you can't.
When it comes to players and fans.
And you grabbing the fan. I mean, anything could have happened to the fan. That fan could have tumbled over. That fan, could have hurt himself on the railing because there was a railing there and it's wide open. And then had you connected on that slab, that's assault. He can sue you.
Yeah.
He can call the cops on you. So it looks bad.
It looks terrible.
And so, honestly, people that defend Rendon, while I get it, there's no way to defend it. You're wrong. because
You're
again,
wrong. You should
because
issue a public apology. It's
yes,
bad for not only you, it's bad for your organization, like you mentioned before. It's bad for the teammates involved because now they have to go out of their way to defend you as well as kind of walk the line.
mhm,
So if you're Anthony Rendon, I don't know what you're thinking. If you're Phil Nevin, I'd like to have a conversation with this. But here's the deal, and baseball should come down here on Rendon,
yeah,
despite whatever this heckler dude said. Baseball has to come down because physical violence between fans and players is not an answer. We don't want Malice at the Palace baseball version. We just don't.
yeah. I mean, overall, like for a sport that's dying in the ratings, dying amongst popularity, like this is the last thing that it
Yep.
needs. Like the headlines of what should be a special weekend, opening weekend in baseball. Baseball's back, everyone's excited, and then you have stuff like this come out. Like it does not it takes away from the excitement, and it just puts a negative light to the game. And this is my favorite game, and I don't like that. It's very disrespectful to me.
Yeah, it's one step forward, two steps back. If you really want to hurt that fan, Anthony, hit a jack, hit a homer, and then go, how you like me now?
Yeah, that's why I always say to these people, talk on the field, man. If people give you crap, talk on the field. Play better defense, play good, hit all well on the offense. Hit home runs, hit doubles, produce some runs for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like do everything while
That,
on the field of play.
yeah, do what you're supposed to do. So,
and really earn your contract, because he hasn't earned his contract. And what is it now? Year 5 or so of that deal?
no, this would be he signed after the Nats won the World Series, so that was 19. So this would be year 4,
Something like that. Year 4,
3
year
or 4.
5. Yeah. Like you
So,
also have to factor in.
and you're
I don't.
right. He does not have a hit yet. He
Yeah.
does have an RBI. He did his sac fly yesterday,
Okay. One
but
measly.
he's 0 for 6.
No, that doesn't count.
So we'll wait to see what the punishment baseball drops on Anthony Rendon for this incident that took place in Oakland. But we're at Sunday. We do have some big games that are rubber games. The Yankees and the Giants have a rubber game this afternoon. The Cubs and Brewers have a rubber game this afternoon. But Dan, through 2 games, your thoughts so far here on the Yanks?
Not too bad. They scored a lot of runs, so that's very encouraging. I think 5 runs apiece so far for the Yankees. So that's equal 10 runs. That's it. It's not bad. You're getting production out of the people that you expected to. Judge, Stanton, heck, Donaldson's also done pretty well. And the pitching's been okay. The bullpen, obviously, Clay Holmes had a bad night trying to, hold the Giants. He didn't do a good job at that. And but Schmidt actually did a good job. The bullpen was actually fairly decent. And then, of course, opening day, they were unstoppable. Cole was fantastic, 11 strikeouts, all that stuff. I believe that's isn't that like a opening day record or tied opening day record?
I think it tied the record. Yes.
Yeah. So Cole's looking phenomenal so far. So I'm happy about that. Yeah. So far, I'm seeing a lot of runs scored and the pitching doing a good job. But they're 1-1, so it's too early to tell what this team is going to look like. But I'm very, very encouraged by the hitting and the pitching.
So I was looking at the schedules while I was making the rundown, and I found this really interesting. They start the year with the Giants over opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then starting tomorrow night, the Phillies coming to town. So they're starting off with back-to-back interleague series.
Yeah, it's odd. I know it's a balanced schedule here, so I know they're trying to face everybody.
Which let me tell you, love the balance.
Oh yeah, no. It look, obviously you take a massive hit in terms of division games. I think they dropped like 25 division games season in favor of getting every team to face each other. But it's necessary because what we've learned and what the Phillies have taught us last year, you don't necessarily need a division to get to the World Series. Now it's all about getting to October. And once you're October, if you're a good enough team, you can make a big run.
And the other part is it allows everyone to see the superstars every year as opposed to every 3 or 4 years. So, argument's sake, the Yankees playing the Padres, you get to see Tatis and Machado. And if you're in San Diego, you get to see Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
Sorry, Giants fans, you have to sell for arson, Judge, but that's a whole nother conversation.
It's a guarantee that stars are going to visit your ballpark, whether it's every year or every other year or back-to-back years, however the heck they want to do it. Like, it's a guarantee that these major league stars or up-and-coming stars are going to visit your ballpark. And that's great because people have gone years. There's teams that have gone years without visiting many different teams.
Yeah, it puts butts in the seats everywhere. Like, sorry to put you down here, Pirate fans, but the Pirates stink to a degree. But hey, the Angels come to town. Mike Trout and Ohtani. I'm going to PNC, despite my team being terrible.
Yeah.
So that's what this is about. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, of course, that's something that as a Knicks fan I had to suffer for a long time. Terrible Knicks teams, but hey, Kobe Bryant's in town, LeBron's in town, Garden's gonna be packed and stuff.
Yeah,
this is what I want to see in baseball.
It's what you want to see in a lot of places. This guy's come. I'm in. Let's go.
It's good stuff. And look, I have been very critical of Manfred for how he's handled union stuff, contract talks, and all that stuff. When it comes to rules, he has nailed it so far. So this is a good sign.
Yeah, balanced schedule, he's nailed. The pitch clock, he's nailed. The bigger bases, he's nailed. My one huge gripe still with Rob Manfred is I do not love the runner at second base for extra innings.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, Mike? Here's the thing. I'm a purist, so I'm all about, doing it the right way, the hard way.
Yep.
Earn your run. But if it's just a regular season and they're promising that it's just a regular season, I can live with 162 games. If it spills into the playoffs, then we'll have a problem.
Then we have a problem. But I'm even willing to compromise, Rob. If you want to start them at first,
okay,
I'll compromise on that.
Yeah.
I just feel second. I get it. It's also for timing, and we don't want these 20-inning games anymore. But it also just feels, I don't know.
But I feel like putting the ghost runner at first would also speed up the game.
Right.
It's not.
Oh, whoever made the last out of the ninth, are you going to pinch run with a speedster and take that bat out?
That's another thing I don't like about the rule. Why does it have to be the last runner? Why can't it be any runner? Why can't it be any courtesy runner?
I guess prefer how the lineup works.
But if it's a ghost runner, who cares?
If he's a ghost runner, he's invisible. No one can see him. So how do we even know he's there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Casper's the ghost runner.
So, look, obviously they're trying to do it in a way that makes sense for lineup purposes and order purposes. So I get that part of it. But my argument is, like, if it's just a runner, like, put anybody in there, even if it's just someone off the bench that could have speed.
Yeah. And that's usually what it becomes if it's
and it doesn't count as a substitution because he's just a runner.
It's a really good thought. Like, if it's a ghost runner, hey, I'm gonna put the flash at second base, and
the team should 100% like have options. Like obviously, the first option is to put the runner, put the batter last, who was last to get out at second base. But then you should have the option to also be like, well, instead of having him, let's put someone off the bench and have it not count towards the substitution because that wouldn't be fair.
yeah. So
Ah,
if that's right now, that's my biggest gripe with Rob Manfred, but it's okay because we're enjoying the balanced schedule. We enjoy the pitch clock. So Rob, you're doing a halfway decent job.
yeah.
That's what I'll call it. On to the series this coming week. Yankees, Phillies, we mentioned before. The Yankees rubber game today at Yankee Stadium against the Giants. The Phillies are looking to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Texas Rangers tonight.
This is odd for the Phillies. I don't remember a time where Phillies were swept by a team that honestly they're superior to the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a better team this season for sure, but it can't be by that much.
The thing I find interesting is the Phillies' offense has done work. Like
way more than enough.
They torched Jacob deGrom opening day.
Yeah.
And then, yesterday they scored some. They haven't pitched well.
Yeah.
Nola struggled. Zach Wheeler struggled yesterday. And if I apologize to the people of Philadelphia for this, but if those two guys aren't good, the Phillies aren't going anywhere.
Because I like Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker's not an ace of a staff. He's not. Like you can't expect him to go in there and give you a billion innings of 3 or less runs. Like it's not in his DNA. So those are the two top pitchers, and it could just be first game jitters and stuff, which can easily be corrected by confidence boosting games. But those games have to come soon because the Phillies right now they're in major trouble with the lineup. Not too much major trouble because they scored, but again, Texas Rangers we're talking about here. So if your pitching can't get it together, then the Phillies are going to lose a lot of games.
They've given up 27 runs in these two games.
That's brutal, man.
Like
brutal.
That's not good stuff. And tonight, they're the Sunday night game. This Sunday night game, according to ESPN, it'll be Bailey Falter against Martin Perez. So that should be your pitching matchup tonight on Sunday night.
I would expect because the Yankees are going to go with the back half of the rotation against them. So I would want them to, obviously be careful with the Phillies lineup because they've shown without Rhys Hoskins and without Bryce Harper that they're just as dangerous. So the Yankee pitching, they have to be, if they're as decent as they are now, I think they'll be okay. Yankee hitting also has to help out here. So it's a kind of a two-way street type of thing. You give and you give back and all that stuff. Yeah. But you also have to hope that the Phillies pitching is also really bad.
Yeah, if they keep struggling.
Yeah.
And you got to keep them in the ballpark. Schwarber, who's going to love that short porch in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, my God. And look.
Alec Boehm's off to a nice start through two games. Trey Turner is a stud. Listen, if you like offensive fireworks, that's the series this week.
Well,
Phillies,
it's a great ballpark, Yankee Stadium.
And if you think about both ballparks of those two teams playing Citizens Bank for Philly, hitter heaven.
Yeah.
Both hitter heaven. So that's a big one. We got a big one in the net. We got a couple of big ones in the National League. The Braves go to St. Louis to play the Cardinals. The Braves are beating up on the Nationals currently, while the Cardinals are playing a tough series against the Toronto Blue Jays, who, if you listened last week, I have a high expectation for, and they've stood toe to toe with the Blue Jays. That was a great game opening day. I think it was a 10-9 finish for the Blue Jays. And then yesterday, Jack Flaherty walked the world, but was able to find a way to get a dub for the Cardinals. And listen, I think these are the two of the better teams in the National League, Dan, the Braves and the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals so far have actually done pretty well.
Mhm.
They got a little unlucky with the Blue Jays scoring 10 runs. Like, it happens. There's not much you can do about that. But the Cardinals have done, despite the massive amount of runs on Thursday, they've actually done an okay job. The Braves are taking care of business against a really bad Nationals team, and rightfully so. They scored 7 runs in both games, and the Nationals give you absolutely nothing. So it's well deserved. And the Braves should beat the Nationals every time. And the bad games happen, but they should win every time.
And that's something for the Mets and the Phillies also. Like, you have to take advantage of the Nationals. The Marlins aren't the pushover. It's the Nationals. So
what I've seen, I'll get to your next point in a second. What I've seen out of Patrick Corbin, what I've seen out of Josiah Gray has been nothing but disaster. Disaster.
And the one thing about the Braves is opening day, they lost Max Fried to a hamstring. So that's something to watch. But
yeah,
the Braves lineup is going to rake. That.
That was tough to watch too, because Fried was actually on a roll. He wasn't doing too bad.
I know he's so good, but I still feel like he's underappreciated and undervalued.
But I get what the Braves are doing with him, though. Like, I feel like they don't want to necessarily commit to him because they committed so many people without knowing for sure if he's the guy.
Yeah. So, and then Spencer Strider pitched yesterday, and that I know I shouldn't like him as a Met fan, but that tremendous mustache he's got makes me a believer. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm a sucker for a good mustache. So it's actually next week is a huge week for the Braves. They go to St. Louis, and then next weekend they go home, and the Padres go to town.
Yeah.
So that's a huge week for the Atlanta Braves. Let's see what else we got. The Giants and the White Sox in interleague play as well next week. The White Sox, who've had a chance to win each of the first 3 games against the Houston Astros. They're 1-2, but they've had a chance to win all 3 of those games. They're off to a decent start. I know 1-2 is not great, but I like the White Sox, Dan. I really, really like the White Sox in the Central.
I think we can forgive them for facing an Astros team that, let's be real, should be 3-0 right now. So I think we can forgive them for 2 losses to a much tougher division opponent in the AL West. So once they start facing the Central Division, I think we'll start to really see what type of team the White Sox are, and of course, interleague play as well. We'll start to definitely see the type of team they are. I don't think facing the Nationals team that we know for sure is going to make another run for the division and another World Series run. I think it's a little unfair to just blurt out and say, well, this is bad. It's not. And, they've been in every game, so that helps.
And their starting pitching, Dylan Cease was amazing on opening night.
Tremendous.
I mean, he never ceased to amaze us like that. Lance Lynn was pretty good Friday night, and then Giolito at times was okay yesterday. And if Giolito is anything like he was in prior to 2020, that's a huge, huge boost to this team.
For sure, yeah.
Because they with that lineup, they should score runs. If those top three guys do what they do, they're as good as anybody in baseball. So, Giants, White Sox, Cardinals, Braves, Phillies, Yankees. The Mets go to Milwaukee to play the Brewers. Brewers will play a rubber game today at Wrigley. The Mets will play in Miami, looking to take 3 of 4. I'm not a believer in the Brewers. I'm not. I love the top two in that rotation of Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff. It's just I don't know, Dan, how they're going to score runs.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one to swallow if you're the Brewers. And I think the Mets will also they'll probably have a trap game, one of these series games. They'll probably be a trap for them, but this should be an easy series for them to win. There should be no excuses, and if they lose, then Buck has a lot of explaining to do because there's just no way.
And I'll say this on what I've seen so far from the Mets. Scherzer was good opening day. Tyler McGill was up and down yesterday, all due respect. And Friday night, Dave Peterson was really good. Gave up 1 run, still lost. But if this team can get offense from guys like Vogelback, if they can get offense from whoever's going to play catcher, those are huge benefits because the guys in the minors might need a little bit more seasoning. But I'll say this, Eduardo Escobar, you better watch out because Brett Beatty's coming.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 homers in Syracuse yesterday.
Yeah.
If he's ready to go and Escobar continues to struggle, I wonder how long Buck and company wait. But
give Beatty a month of great baseball in AAA, and he'll be up in the majors by May.
Yeah, so Kodai Senga makes his debut today, and the bullpen for the Mets has been pretty good. So that was concern of mine. But Robertson's been good through 2 outings. Drew Smith's looked really good, which would be a huge boost to that bullpen. So the Mets going to Milwaukee starting tomorrow, and the series in Miami today. So those are the big series for the week, kind of deal. Yeah. Is there anything else, Dan, you're looking forward to this week outside of just, hey, we get more baseball?
It's going to be fantastic. I mean, I am very interested in seeing the Orioles play the Rangers. The Orioles have actually done a fairly good job against the Red Sox. I know that they split the first 2 games, but this Rangers
they should have won yesterday if they don't drop that fly ball.
I know. You got to catch the damn ball. Like, come on now, come on. But yeah, the Orioles have actually done a very good job. The Rangers have scored runs, but the pitching's weird. I'm curious. Like, I want to watch that game, Orioles and Rangers. I want to really see like how that turns out. And then I also want to watch the Padres too. The Padres and D-backs, the division matchup. That should be really, really exciting to see there.
I can watch the Padres all day.
Mm-hmm.
Great lineup, great pitching staff, great broadcasting. The Padres. Listen, I know people are going to say it's a cliche, but the Padres are fun.
Mm-hmm.
And they just extended Jay Cronenworth 7 years, $80 million.
Which is a good deal. That's a good good price for him too.
Yeah, you're not going into triple digits. And I think, I don't know if I read this or heard it, but it's kind of like how the Mets extended Jeff McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more on term for Cronenworth, but same kind of player, contact. And those guys need big stuff. So Cronenworth stays in San Diego. That whole team is locked up.
Yeah,
Like
and then
that whole team is locked up.
and now we just wait for Tatis to get back on his feet, and we know he missed a lot of time, missed the whole season, and missing a lot of this season too. So he's missing a lot. But one thing I'm very impressed about with Fernando Tatis is that he's still working at it. Like he's not taking this break as if he's just chilling out and not doing anything. He's actually preparing for his time in the season to come in and be the player that we all know he can be.
And when he gets back into that lineup, boy, there's no easy feat in that line. You're going through him.
Padres fans are going to be excited. He's an exciting ball player.
Oh,
they would kill for him
that
to
team, man.
Yeah.
Him, Machado, Bogarts, Soto. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous how deep and how good that lineup is. That is the definition of a fantasy lineup.
That's like MLB The Show type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like you have a dream of what you want to see on a video game. You put it together because you can, and you just go out and just rake.
Oh, yeah. So Tatis should be back sometime later in April, but boy, the race in the race in the West, the race everywhere is going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you know what? I really don't think these teams are as bad as a lot of people make them out to be. Like, I don't think the Royals are as bad as people make them out to be. I could be wrong, but if I'm seeing a lot of good stuff out of Bobby Witt Jr., I would love the heck out of the Royals.
Yeah, if they can get Bobby Witt and some of their other young guys to hit, and just figure out who's the number 2 guy behind Brady Singer.
Yeah,
they're not a pushover. The Tigers, the Tigers have pieces. Let's see them take the next step.
Yeah, they also have the veteran in Baez, Javi Baez.
Miggy's in his last year.
Yeah.
So
I believe they mess with the dimensions at Comerica Park, so it's easier to hit out if they're looking for home runs. I don't know if they are, but
I mean, if only they did that during his prime. Like, really, you're gonna wait till Miggy's last year to change dimensions?
Yeah. I don't get these ballparks. Like, I get it, pitching parks, whatever, fine. Camden Yards is like that now, but who the hell cares? Chicks dig the long ball. If you haven't heard, they don't dig the strikeout.
Nah, they dig the long ball. Dan's right. Everyone digs the long ball.
Yeah. Now
no one digs the small ball anymore.
And look, we talk about teams that we expect to take the next leap. I expect the Nationals to take the next leap. People are crushing the Nationals as if they're going to have a historically bad season. I don't see that. I don't. I can see them winning 70 games. Call me crazy. I think they can win 70 games. If they put a nice run together, if they get all their pitching in line, it's going to take them a while, and that's expected. They're young pitchers facing big-time teams in their division, 1, across the National League, 2, and then, you have the American League. But you know what? Expose them. And you have players like a Don Smith that's done it already, a Jamer Candelario that's done it already. You know, there's just no way to say why not.
And you need some of your own guys to take the next step. Listen, I've heard a lot about Victor Robles. He hasn't hit.
He's been dreadful.
He can defend. He can run. He hasn't hit. So I need him to hit. I need some of these. See what some of these young guys have, and you may not be crazy.
Yeah.
And that they may win 70 games if they find
like
their way.
A Kybert Ruiz will also nice be coming out.
Yeah. So, that there's. So listen, it's opening week. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got their hopes up and belief system raises through the roof. It's not like the Family Guy cutaway. There's the pitch and the season's over.
No, it's gonna be an exciting season. And I'm liking it so far. Between all the new rules and all the great players that are out there, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, so we're excited. We'll cover this every week. We may even jump into twice a week with Batter Up.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
We're still working on details for that, but we'll keep you updated. You can listen to this as a podcast on Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. You check us out, YouTube. We live stream the show every week. You can check out the Twitter at SInsanityReal.
Yep.
Boom. Got that going too. And you can check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, and planes, trains, and automobiles. And for Danny Boy Reginald, Dan Rhines, I am Mike Rifkin. Thank you for tuning in to Batter Up, part of the Sports Insanity Network. Have a great Sunday, everybody. And namaste.
Peace, folks.